Okay, my name is Göran Ericsson. I'm a professor at the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences, SLU, and I'm located at Umea, which is 600 kilometers north of Stockholm. Predominantly it's boreal and nemo-boreal forest, but the further south you come in Sweden, the more deciduous trees interspersed and the more farmland interspersed the landscape. So moving from the north to the south, it's mainly moose in the north, and the further south you get, the more species you get. And in terms of ungulates, you have up to 5 or 6 species, and of course there's roe deer, red deer, fallow deer, and an increasing amount of wild boar as well. It's tricky for an organization that's a university to say if they're proactive or reactive, because we do both, because the activities centers around education, research, and outreach. So sometimes you are brought in as a proactive part in a research program project, or you initiate projects to be able to foresee what will happen in the future. At the same time, you're brought in to be a reactive partner to fix and deal with problems or catastrophes like storms or fires and things you can't plan for. And the lessons concerning wildlife are probably many, and of course they have been communicated. What we have arrived at, being part of a wider society, is that we now apply more an adaptive approach, which means there is a systematic approach from everything from goal setting, how the action should be formed, but also how the action should be evaluated, reshaped and reformulated again. So I would say our university and other actors in the university world has been part of shaping a structure in terms of adaptive management around forestry, wildlife management, and in particular ungulates and browsing. The uncertainties I see in a system that particularly is adaptive, of course, is unforeseen events, because wildlife is part of the forest and landscape, and they will be affected by things you can't plan for. The other unforeseen events I see is that humans, you don't know how well humans adapt to the system in terms of having a strong stamina, being able to withhold a strategy, but also the society as a whole has to be able to provide resources in order to run the system, get data in, evaluate data, but also provide a decision support for an adaptive management approach. In general, risk is something that probably varies over time, what the society considers as a risk. And wildlife damage right now is obviously a risk in many countries, and it depends of course on the number, but also in how we use the land. So over time I foresee that risk will vary among countries, but currently browsing is a risk that affects commercial forestry, and in some areas it also might affect biodiversity. But at the same token, wildlife and ungulates are part of creating biodiversity. So if you look at the European communities, it depends how each and every country values the balance by the impact of browsing, for example, and the benefit of having the browsers in the system. I think the risk facility can do a couple of things. The first, it can bring foresters, wildlife managers and stakeholders together in a more neutral arena where they can discuss this. And by that they can also help including wildlife in land use and forestry practices. And including practice, I mean planning processes as well. Currently, wildlife is an ad hoc process, quite often into forestry, but it has to be treated in the same professional way as they do in terms of forestry planning, and also long-term planning concerning forestry. Yeah, I see the risk facility could act like an independent unit. It's an arena that brings people together. And of course, they can also help connecting good examples on a fairly superficial level, where they show that good examples could be used in general principle in several countries.